this in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless.
Good afternoon, meatheads. I'm back with you to pump up your day with some motorcycle content. It is a beautiful February day here in South Dakota. We got a 50-degree day today and a 50-degree day tomorrow. So, I mean, might as well pull the old bike out and get some miles on it while we can. Because more than likely we will get slammed with snow at some point in time. Try not to slide out in the water puddle. Even bigger amounts of water that we'll try to avoid. That's the only problem with the 50-degree day is we start melting everything. And it's a weird point with it's gonna get all over my camera. I'm gonna block the camera angle so that I don't get sprayed with water. Yeah, we're good now. We're just going out for a quick little ride to scrub up the tires a bit and get some miles on the bike. Nothing too crazy, but I'm going to be a little bit late to the party here and talking about the topic that I want to talk about because I've been stewing over it for a while. More or less trying to formulate my opinion and back my argument behind things, but recently being a couple weeks ago when Harley Davidson released their 2022 model lineup, we had a lot of people that were kind of excited and a lot of people that were not very happy about it. And I mean, I could talk about the FX LRST, the new Sport Touring Lowrider S, and I honestly don't really care too much about it. Not that it's a bad bike or that they shouldn't have made it, but what's been said has been said, you know. It's a 117 cubic inch lowrider S with a fairing and sport glide bags, and the fairing has a unique look, we'll just say. But nonetheless, I think it's honestly a good bike that I'm glad Harley made because it was kind of a missing spot in their lineup. However, where I have a lot more choice opinions on is the new Sport Touring Street Glide and Road Glide. And I say choice opinions because I don't personally think that is what should be considered a sport touring motorcycle. If I can actually talk, I keep kind of like fumbling over my words even though I've kind of rehearsed this and talked it out loud myself for quite a while now, but the reason why I don't really like the new Sport Touring Road Glide and Street Glide is just that it seems so lackluster for what it should have been. And that being that, you know, last year, Harley Davidson started entering into the Bagger Racing League, right? And they teamed up with a lot of big names in the industry, a lot of people that have been making parts for performance baggers for a while now. And they also teamed up with Öhlins to develop a suspension system for their touring motorcycles, right? So it kind of just seems like what should have came was a bike that had all the bells and whistles for being able to rip around corners while also being comfortable, you know? So that being like, oh, we're going to throw the Screaming Eagle Öhlins piggybacks on it. We're going to have a better front end suspension, a little bit stiffer, so it's better to handle corners, better turn in feel and all that. We'll give it some more performance. Maybe even an emissions legal 2-into-1 would have been kind of cool to see. You know, I would have liked to have seen them put barn risers on it like the Lowrider S and just make it simple. Make it simple, performance-oriented machine. So what all do we do as far as like the community of performance bagger guys? We get rid of this and we mount the gauges up into here, or we mount them up on a riser system. Like, we don't want to have it down here. We want T-bars, we want really good suspension, and we want good power. You know, the 117 motor is a nice power plant. I'm not going to say it's not, But when it seems like what they did is they just took a road glide special, right? Or a street glide special, and said, nix the stretch bags, throw the 117 on it, it's good, it's golden, it's a performance bag, you're good, send it out, put it out there. Well, what's going to be the price? $30,000! Like, it just, for 30 grand, I was expecting more of, like I was describing, I was expecting, like, yes, standard bags on the bike. I would like to see, again, bar and risers, at least on the road glide. I don't, T-bars or whatnot might be a sore spot for the street glide, but nonetheless, bar and risers, like the Lowrider S, mount the gauges up in here, get rid of the head unit and the speakers, better suspension in the front and the rear, maybe better braking too, but that might be asking too much. But you could have kept the 114 motor in there. There's nothing wrong with the 114. It makes ample power. The 117 is just a little bit more power, but realistically 3 cubic inches is not that big of a difference in the 117 and the 114. So for 30 grand, I feel like they could have made a more performance oriented bike, because when you look at things from this perspective of how does the Road Glide Sport Touring differ from the Road Glide Standard, right? And when you can only say that the difference between the Road Glide Standard and the Road Glide Sport Touring is that the Sport Touring has the 117, the upgraded audio system, and the RDRS, does that sound like it's worth 30 grand more money? More dollar? More ka-ching? I don't know. To me, it doesn't sound like it, especially when considering, like, if I take this Road Glide Special that I have here, my 2018, and I picked it up for around like 22 grand. That was the sale price on it. And, with the bars that I've done, the windshield, the exhaust, the intake, the cam, the Legend suspension in the back, the Saddleman seat, the different boards now, and all that, and the dyno tune, I'm making just as much power, if not more power, than that new Sport Touring Road Glide. And I've got bars on mine. I got a better suspension, and I'm about the same price. So you got to ask yourself, are you really wanting to spend 30 grand on a 2022 Road Glide, or should you actually just buy like a 2019 or a 2018 Road Glide, or Street Glide, I should say? That's also a caveat. This applies to both. But are you better off buying an older one and putting that extra 10 grand or so into it to make it even better than the new Sport Touring Road Glide and Street Glide? Like, it literally, this will outhandle one of those new Sport Touring bikes, because it's still just got the same stock suspension in the rear and in the front. They just put a bigger motor in it. And to me, yeah, speed and overall power is just one little aspect of a Sport Touring bike, but it also has to throw itself around in corners well. It has to be confident in corners, confident, inspiring in corners, and it also's got to stop well. And they didn't change the brakes and they didn't change the suspension, so they only looked at one piece of the puzzle, and it was honestly just the easiest piece for them to do, because they already had the 117 and they have the 131 on tap also, in case you wanted more power. I don't know about this salty road right here. I'm just gonna take it easy through here. But anyways, I would like to hear your guys' thoughts. I know that it's been bouncing around a bit. A lot of people have expressed their opinions on the new touring bikes and all that, and the new touring model lineup, but to me, again, it just feels like they went and took the easiest route to say that they made a Sport Touring motorcycle without honestly really considering what makes a good Sport Touring bike, But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd like to hear what you guys think. Were you guys kind of disappointed with the Sport Touring bike? The Sport Touring models for the touring platform, the Road Glide and the Street Glide? Or are you actually going to consider it? And why do you consider going to that over, say, a 2020 or 2021 model? You know, what exactly is drawing you more towards that bike rather than the older model years? Anyways, I think that's going to be enough for me, guys. I wanted to make just a short little riding video and actually talk about this topic of this new lineup that Harley Davidson has created and how it's just, to me, it's underwhelming and it could have been better executed. But I don't know, I could be wrong. It doesn't seem like I'm wrong because there's a lot of people that have already like nitpicked this release and have expressed similar opinions to as I have prior. But I figure since I'm actually on a road glide and like I've been doing kind of a sport touring build on this bike over the time that I've owned it anyway, that I would express where my mindset was when like I thought about, looked at these bikes and just was underwhelmed by it. But until next time, guys, I hope you all stay safe out there, keep the shiny side up, and I'll see you later.